Would you tell us about some of your lifetimes, who you were, what you accomplished, or what you learned during those times?
It is that I had many lifetimes of great involvement in spiritual connection that were before the recorded history, and so a lot of them that I can remember very well wouldn't mean a great deal to you. So perhaps we will start with Joseph, the father of Jesus. It is that the speaking of the fact that the Master Jesus came from a virgin birth, and it is that the misunderstanding around the word virgin, that in the Western cultures it has been defined as a woman, or perhaps a man, who has not had sexual encounters. But it is that the word virgin from the Sanskrit simply means the pure, immaculate heart. And so it is. The virgin birth, Mary was trained in the temples, in the highest and finest understanding of spiritual evolution, and this is why she was chosen to be a vessel, that the Master Jesus would come through her body. But it is that in the terms of understanding, you could say that Jesus was consummated in the normal way. However, here again, because I have held the frequency of a higher intention, I was used as a vessel to bring the seed. And you could say, yes, that the Holy Ghost overshadowed I, and therefore overshadowed Mary. There was none of the attempt to control the child or mold the child in the image of the parent, and so the Master Jesus was brought forth in this kind of understanding, in the absolute agreement between my soul and Mary's, and the soul of that one that was called Jesus. Indeed. It is that I was not Columbus, I was doing other things at the time. But it is that being St. Francis was an amazing experience. And it is that I feel that the love of nature and the love of animals was a consciousness that now would be well served for all to remember. It is, beloved masters, as you remember beauty, you raise your vibrational frequency. And it is in these times that as you connect with the beauty of nature, it brings you to a centered place of peacefulness. Where there is love, where there is peace, war and hatred cannot abide. And so it is. In that life, it is that I sought to live peacefully with the ways of earth, to appreciate the animals, and to listen to the messages that they brought. It is that I, as the Master Saint Germain, have, quote unquote, meddled in the affairs of politics in many annoying ways because I had the ability to sit with the King of France and be in The Hague in a matter of hours in a time when that travel would take several days. I could go to England, and in the afternoon I could be in Germany. And so it is. I attempted to turn the tide of the French Revolution, but when I discovered that the Master Napoleon had none of it, he was not about to change his way, I came to what is now the United States of America, and I was called Hiawatha. And In that lifetime, I brought peace to 7 warring tribes in the area that would now be called Minneapolis St. Paul. And it is that those tribes that had fought for so long were given a sacred tree that reached into heaven. And as they would climb the tree, they made connection. The tree of life, the connection to higher understanding, remembering by climbing into higher frequencies the ways of peace. And so it is, the intention has been through most of my journeys to bring a mending, a blending, and a healing. I have had a few lives in the body of a woman, but they were not of note because the lives of women have not generally been of note in his story. But it is, I have experienced humanity from the underbelly as well as from the heights. So it is not that I have always sat in high places and cannot understand how the peasant might suffer, but it is that I also desired to bring to those who considered themselves victims a recognition of their power and an understanding of their free will to make choice. Indeed.
Okay, can you explain to me what a twin flame is and then talk about your relationship with Lady Portia?
There are many on this ball that say they are looking for their soulmate. A soulmate is someone that you have made a soul agreement with to complete some project. It may or may not have anything to do with a relationship as far as intimacy is concerned. The twin soul is probably the closest that most humanity would come to meeting one that they are attuned with energetically. The twin soul is one whose essence is so like yours that it's very difficult to tell where your song ends and theirs begins, where your essence would flow into theirs. But to be with a twin soul is a very challenging situation because they are going to mirror you so completely that if you're not really in love with yourself, you're going to have a great deal of difficulty dealing with a mirror that shows you every facet, the facets of wonder and the facets of difficulty. My Lady Portia is the other half of the soul that we share. My Lady Portia is the masculine aspect of the soul, and yet she presents herself as the woman. I am the feminine aspect, and yet I present myself as a man. And it is that the twin flames, Lady Portia is my twin flame, cannot both be in the earth plane at the same time unless the souls have evolved to a point of energy where it is safe, because what the twin flame has done throughout time is to hold a balance for the soul that is moving through an earth life. And it is that if both aspects were in the earth plane, there could be a sense of total loss or abandonment. You've experienced a great deal of that feeling anyway.